Hello everyone and welcome to Game 3 in the series between xSix's Sleep versus Hyun here on Cloud Kingdom, almost said Coral Compound. Cloud Kingdom, we see Hyun spawning as the blue Zerg over here on the top right hand side of the map, xSix's Sleep spawning as the red Zerg over here on the bottom left hand side, and so far we are tied at one game apiece in this series. Now, one game apiece, so far we've seen some very different styles. Sleep in game 2, if you a little bit of a spoiler, in game 2 was able to simply out macro and outlast, utilizing infestors and trading energy for units. By the fact that Sleep was able to save his infestors a little bit more, he was able to get a lot more mileage out of them, and by getting a little bit more mileage out of his infestors, he was able to tip the scales in his favor. Now, we'll see how things are going to go here on Cloud Kingdom. Cloud Kingdom, one of those maps where your natural is fairly easy to take, but your third base is rather far away. So both of these players may be thinking a little bit of a 2-base timing as opposed to 3. If you do get up that third base, you are much more exposed in terms of overall surface area. It is a little bit more difficult to transfer units over here to this third base unless you're able to get some queens up on the high ground with those creep tumors. Now, lately, a lot of Zerg players have been getting that additional queen or two for faster creep tumors and for some early transfusions, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of these players did try to take this third base relatively quickly. Now, Sleep is going for a spawning pool, so a pool extractor. Meanwhile, an extractor pool coming in from Hyun, and Hyun will be going for that metabolic boost slightly faster in order to get perhaps a little bit more map control. He is going to be sacrificing a little bit of his economy overall, as we now see Sleep finally transferring drones into the extractor here, and you already see that he has his hatchery trying to build at the natural expansion. So far, Overlords are just getting set up. Both players in the opening stages of this game trying to figure out where exactly to go, what exactly to do, and where they want to position themselves to spot and see and figure out what their opponent is doing. So far, Hyun has still yet to establish up his own natural expansion, finally going to be making it down sometime around the 4-minute mark. Yes, 3-minute 52nd, and that is significantly behind. It is about 1 minute behind his opponent, so Sleep could easily get 100 to 200 more resources just because of the additional drones, additional larvae, and additional queen production that will be available to Sleep. Second queen already being trained here. We could have a third queen here as well. Spawn larva has already hit, as the queen now making her way down to this hatchery off over here. It doesn't look like it will be training up a third queen. Instead, transferring the main queen over, as metabolic boost is going to be finishing for Hyun. Alright, second queen now already completed by Hyun. We could see the second queen making its, or the first queen making its way down here over at the hatchery. Yes, that is going to be how it works. And Hyun also benefiting a little bit from an earlier creep tumor. So creep spread will be more prevalent, connecting the main base and the natural expansion. You can kind of see there's this no man's land right here in between these two bases where the Zerg units, except for drones, are a little bit slower. Hyun now setting up and finally getting up his own natural expansion. So far we see 5 drones at the natural expansion here from Sleep. It is 25 drones versus 22, a small economic advantage, as Sleep also benefiting from an additional queen as well, and also looking to lay down some creep tumors for perhaps some fast movement and some earlier scouting. One Zergling quickly getting impaled by that spine crawler. Queens are ready to go. Spine crawler now making its way a little bit more forward, as we are now going into a baneling move by Sleep. Sleep looking to utilize those banelings early on to perhaps destroy and take down a lot of the drones. There are going to be those spine crawlers, though, trying to remotely detonate all of those banelings, as both players still have yet to establish up their third base. They want to be cautious, as both players pretty much have overlords all across the map to figure out what their opponent is doing very difficult to set up any sort of ninja expansion whatsoever as this game does roll on. Tech to tier 2 now coming in from Hyun. Meanwhile, no tech to tier 2 coming in from Sleep as of yet. Just getting off a whole bunch of spawn larvas, and we may see another round of drones come in just a moment, which would be very, very beneficial to Sleep as he wants to get up his strong economic advantage still. 35 drones compared to 37. Hyun finally able to surpass the economic advantage of Sleep's, even though Sleep did go for his hatchery first. Hyun perhaps doesn't have nearly as much creep spread or a little bit of the change in the building order. Overall harvester count is now 37 to 36. Both sides with pretty much the same amount of larvae, but Sleep now with a slightly larger army. Banelings trying to engage. It looked like this Baneling could have been taken down, and now those Zerglings and Banelings are going to be backing off again. Oh, a beautiful, beautiful splash there, utilizing 3 Banelings to try to take down multiple units. Banelings are now going to try to suicide their way in here. It is not going to work. That Baneling pretty much automatically falling. So Sleep not on top of his micro there. A poor miscalculation, wasting 150 resources without really dealing any damage. Glio Reconstitution, level 1 missile upgrades coming in from both sides. It looks like it is going to be a transition to roaches from Hyun and Sleep. No Glio Reconstitution coming in from Sleep just quite yet. We are still running at tier 1 and at hatchery tech as opposed to layer tech. And without that layer tech, those roaches are going to be able to get within combat range much more easily than Sleep's own roaches. Zerglings now just surrounding and taking down multiple roaches here. And Hyun finally comes over to defend. Sleep is going to have to strike while the iron is hot. He looks like he is going to be doing exactly that, as Hyun is not going to be able to really pay for this hatchery until a little bit of time later. Roaches now setting up for what may be a very, very strong attack here. There are a lot of Banelings lying in the back, and once this ramp is completely opened up wide, those Banelings may actually be able to find their target. You can see Spine Crawlers are coming in. Banelings now trying to find their way in. Spine Crawler looks to finish rooting itself here as the roaches are now making their way in as well. Roaches battling it up. Banelings looking to try to perhaps get into position. The Banelings fighting and splashing up against a couple more units, but this is not really what we're looking for. The Banelings trying to make their way in. Are they going to be able to make their way in into the mineral line? Yes, taking down a couple key drones. And that was absolutely huge. Those Banelings, oh, one more Baneling could have taken down multiple drones there. Not quite sure what's going on. The Banelings still wandering around on the inside. And it looks like the Banelings are going to be, taking down, dealing a lot of damage and taking down a lot of Banelings there, or taking on a lot of drones there with just Banelings. 36 drones compared to 27. There are a lot of red drones as well, but the damage was dealt. Roaches now trying to trade inefficiently up against more roaches. The Zerglings now going to be perhaps be able to do a surround here. Hyun is behind. He's not going to be able to replenish his units nearly as quickly, especially as those Zerglings are going up against those roaches. The roaches do benefit from a 1-0 upgrade, meaning that they are able to two-shot those Zerglings. Zerglings now looking to try and take down multiple roaches and queens. As a quick transfusion, looks like it will not be enough to save it, but it was able to deal a little bit more damage with another roach. Zerglings now falling victim to some more roaches here as the Zerglings now making their way inside the main base. Looks like more drones will get taken down, but that may have been the tipping point. Those Banelings finding and detonating against a couple of drones. Harvester kill count now up to 20. You can now see 41 to 21. A difference of about 100% between these two players in terms of their drones and worker count, and that is not something you want to see at this point. Zergling perhaps going to try to take down some of those changelings over there. Yes, able to do exactly that. We are going to get into another queen here, and perhaps some queens off over here to try to replenish the ones that were already destroyed, but that does mean a severe hit in overall larva production. Hyun now at 52 over 92, Sleep at 92 over 94, and these Zerglings are looking to strike and deal a lot more damage. 0-1 upgrades about to be completed. You can see 2-0 upgrades already being started as the Zerglings are now trying to engage. They're going to be able to take down one of these queens very easily, perhaps take down a couple of drones, as well as the drones are now trying to get away. We now see Zerglings running inside the main base. Another queen is going to get taken down here. Down it goes as the drones are stacking up on top of each other, trying to minimize the amount of surface area while still being able to deal a lot of damage together. Zerglings going after drones, roaches now pretty much pushing back all of those units, and then maybe one more final round of units coming in from Sleep before Sleep will take a 2-1 lead over his opponent. All right, Sleep now macroing up a whole bunch of roaches, now sitting on 20 roaches in the center portion of this third base here. Sleep is upgraded 0-1 and 1-1, now looking to go to 2-1 in just a moment. But we also see Sleep trying to research Burrow. Burrow always very effective as it allows roaches to regenerate hit points at 5 hit points a second, up to 10 hit points a second with, wow. All right, so up to 10 hit points a second, and Hyun, seeing this massive army from Sleep, decides to GG as Sleep now takes a 2-1 lead in this series. Stay tuned for Game 4.